Before we get started, I just want to welcome you to my home office. Let me show you around. This is my Samsung SyncMaster 151 MP. Of course, I got two of them, because you need two. It's my Toshiba monitor, which is a must for any home office. And there's my Sanyo Mini, which I love. It's my first one. And
a lot of memories.
yeah, this one takes me back to the 80s. It's a classic. There's my Jolly Rancher thing, which was a gift from the UN. And there's my suitcases full of money. I don't know if you can pan down. That's cash, just in case I need cash for something quick. Actually, acting was not my first thing that I did. I was more into music. So in the 70s, I was in a pop band called the Shimmy Pops, which was a sort of a, it was I guess it was like a boy band-ish kind of thing, but the 70s. Then in the 80s, I moved into sort of more instrumental jazz because I was going through a lot of in my life. And my music taste changed quite a bit. I was very into atmospheric stuff and just going out and just watching and listening to the rain and to the lightning and to the thunder. I know you can't hear lightning, but you know what I mean. And big into Vangelis and Jean-Michel Jarre, who was a brother of the guy I think you're thinking of. Michael Penn, Foreigner, stuff like that. People who are doing amazing things in music. And so I moved to Greece for, I guess this was probably, it was like mid-80s. I had a room in a shed at Vangelis's house. He was a mentor to me. And we just we didn't make a lot of music. We played a lot. We would do a lot of fun things. And he taught me about Greece and about wine and about food and about farming and agriculture, agribusiness. Eventually, I think that was just that was a period where we were just sort of getting to know each other, and we weren't really comfortable making music together. And then eventually we did, and when we did, it was really powerful. And I always tip my cap to him, my captain's cap, the one he gave me. So I guess what I was trying to say is that I come from a more continental perspective, that because of my travels and me being really into Europe and Eastern Europe. And I think I brought that back here. And I also think I'm pretty solely responsible for bringing Izod back in fashion, which a lot of people are wearing now. And they weren't for 20 years. Now they are. It's because I was in France and I bought a hat that had an alligator on it and came back, and I lived in the East Village in Manhattan, and I was wearing that around, and a lot of people were like, Izod, what's that, man? And I was like, coming from Europe back to America was a tough transition for me because I took a boat, the slow boat. I didn't have money to take a plane. So that was it was 12 weeks of travel. So it was really hard.
Did you act on the boat?
I started an improv group on the boat. Yeah, I mean, it was it wasn't it was just a bunch of, there was the people in the crew and, a couple people who were traveling on there, and it wasn't an official improvisational group that would perform for anybody. We were on a boat, but it was more just people getting together and drinking and making up funny stuff. And, we'd pretend we weren't on a boat, that we're not on the ocean. We'd we'd pretend we were in a castle or something. in Germany, and we'd all talk in German accents. You know, bring up the monocle into my. You know, so it'd be stuff like that. But it was all just, you know, it was all just friends doing stuff like that, and then it spiraled into something bigger. So when we came back to America, those guys stayed on the, like, those guys, I didn't see them anymore. They dropped me off in Manhattan Harbor. And I gotta say, when I saw the Statue of Liberty, it was only the 15th or 16th time I'd seen it. I felt this like unbelievable rush of emotion, and just knowing I'm back, like, this is mine. Like, America is mine. It's not yours, or yours, or yours. It's mine. I own it. And that's what's amazing about America. I did a lot of stuff with Sonny and Cher. I did a lot of bit parts on Sonny and Cher Hour. I did a whole bunch of telethons. I did a few movies. I was in like a bunch of movies. I was in pretty much every Altman film you could name. I was the lead in Top Gun. And from that, I got to know Tom Cruise and became the lead in Risky Business. Risky Business 2. Although it was a little later, Risky Business 2 was made a little later, so Hollywood was sort of shaking it up, I would say. And I was naked in that scene with the underwear, but they digitized out my and my so that was like the little twist that was funny. Like, people were like waiting to see me come out like in that slide, and then you see that's my ass. I was on the show Dr. Katz. That was a awkward experience, I think, overall, but it led me to Home Movies. This was the same company who made both shows. But Dr. Katz was, I can't say anything bad about Dr. Katz. You got my heart, brother.
Why can't you say anything bad? And not that I want you to, but
Sorry.
What was the experience there?
Why was Dr. Katz special? It was the first show that paid me money to perform, and I thought that was a mistake on their part, and I thought that they made me feel guilty about it because they were paying me for my services, which I didn't feel I was worthy of. So I became very conspiratorial, and I thought, like, you're messing with me because you're paying me to do this job, which I know I'm not qualified for. So there must be something else involved. Like, what else do you want me to do? Is this going to get weird? So it put me into a bad place, you know, emotionally and spiritually. But it turned out to be that my conspiracy theories about Dr. Katz were not true. That it was just a cartoon, and they were just trying to make money. And I was just part of that plan to make money, which I guess is not necessarily non-conspiratorial, but it's pretty much like everything else. You know what I mean? Dr. Katz was unique in the sense that it was taped in a pantry in some guy's house. And I'm serious, I'm not even kidding. Which one, like, I didn't know much about how they did television at that point. I was pretty young. But I didn't think that you did television in someone's kitchen. I just didn't think that was the case. So I was a little wary, as you can imagine, about doing a show. I mean, it was a you know, Dr. Katz was a cartoon, so they taped it in had a microphone. You weren't being filmed, but there was a microphone hanging in the pantry in someone's kitchen when you went into it. So you were in this guy's. You shut a door, and then there was all these like canned foods, and it wasn't a theme. Like it wasn't like a cool studio, like there's probably out here in Hollywood. Like, you know, we're the studio that looks like a kitchen, or like, you know, Toilet Productions. Our whole studio looks like a bathroom. It wasn't like that. It was, I mean, the guy's family was around, and the wife would cook for kids, and like right outside we were taping a television show. So it was weird. And that takes me back to the conspiracy thing, because I thought, like, this has got to be some sort of elaborate practical joke done by an eccentric billionaire. Home Movies was the same company that made Dr. Katz, but they had moved out of the house after Dr. Katz became a little more successful. They bought another house and made it a replica of the original house. That they made it a replica of the original house that we originally recorded in, but the family didn't come over, so it was that kind of cool studio I was talking about, where it was like called, you know, the house, and there were crazy ass parties, and like that was at least what I remember. It's just women and men partying all the time, and there was weird stuff going on. Like there were drugs. There was definitely drugs, and there was this weird punch. That there was always this weird punch bowl. You just drink out of it, and then it was like seltzer and like fruit, fresh fruit, and I guess like antioxidants. It's got like powdered antioxidants, and then next to that there would be this whole like platter of like sliced turkey and roast beef and like deli foods and stuff. I play several characters on Home Movies. I play, of course, Coach McGurk. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you. No. Yes. Okay. Guys, come on. I'm in the middle of this. Thank you. Yes, I love you too. All right. Don't take your shirt off. Lady, don't. Oh my God. What is wrong with you? Okay. Are we good? Yeah, I'm sorry. Coach McGurk, Jason, the kid, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, Jesus. This is too... Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then like various other characters, like sort of I put like either Walter or Perry, which are the two sort of high-pitched kids, and like various other parts like Dr. Pussy McGee, played Pussy McGee, Rabbi Jewerston, played Rabbi Jewerston, I think for like 2 episodes. And then I played that talking parrot or whatever, like the... If your question is, do I connect with one character more than another? Yes.
Who?
I'm not telling.
All right. Why not?
Because that's none of your business.
Do you enjoy playing one character more than another?
I think if your question is, do I enjoy playing one character more than another, I think you're trying to get me to answer the other question that you asked, and I think that's being slimy, and I'm not going to fall for that.
All right, let me rephrase it. I'd rather you not talk about which character you connect to more than another.
Okay, let me interrupt you for a second. Now I think you're definitely trying to get me to reveal which character I relate to most. And if you continue on this track, sir, I will call my lawyer from this very seat and talk to him.
Okay.
And I don't have a lawyer, but I would have to call information and or the Yellow Pages and ask for lawyers. I have a lot of contact with fans on the show. Whenever a fan contacts me, I will set up a meeting, and it's happened on several thousand occasions, because I have a lot of fans, and I've met all of them one-on-one. I've slept with many of them, male and female, because I think it is important to connect with them on that level, as well as on the level of just meeting their hero, or the character that they loved. And granted, I don't sleep with all of them. Some people are extremely disappointed when they see me in real life, and they're just like, "You're ugly. You're much uglier than I thought you'd be," because most people just hear me, and I have a sexy voice, in that like Semitic way. But when they meet me in real life, it's just like you're too little, or like, ew, it's not what I expected. What am I doing now? I like to call this period in my life "kicking back," in quotes. And I am not only in just name, but in deed. I put kicking back on everything that I'm involved with. I bought a car. My license plate says Kickin' Back. I bought a boat, and I called it Kickin' Back. I have a house. I have several houses, and they're all called Kickin' Back, but they're called Kickin' Back 1, Kickin' Back 2, Kickin' Back 3, Kickin' Back 4, Kickin' Back 5. Kickin' Back 5 is my favorite. It's on the island of Mustique. I live right next to Jagger. He's never there anymore. But to be honest, Kicking Back has become like an industry for me, which is like a mixed bag, because at first I was like, I'm done with home movies, I'm just going to kick back. Then I started calling things Kicking Back. And then people started catching on, like Kicking Back. Hey, like people who saw my license plate would be like, beep, beep, like, all right, man. And I'd be like, all right. Then it started getting like more. Then it started getting more and more and more like I had to I made T-shirts that say Kicking Back, and I made sweatpants that say Kicking Back. Now I have a line of clothing, Kicking Back. Now I have like whatever, 10,000 employees, all in different countries all over the world, who make my apparel. So Kicking Back, I thought I was gonna. The irony is, you get it, right? The irony is, I thought I was Kicking Back. Now I'm working harder because of Kicking Back.
To ask you, and that is, when you look back on what I'm sure is going to be a very long career, what place will home?
I think when I start to look back, and I learned this from my grandfather. My grandfather died a very old man, but the last 10 years of his life, he only remembered one story, and it was something about picking up a paper, like a newspaper, like off the ground. And he would incessantly tell that story, no matter what. Like, you'd be like, "How you doing, Grandpa?" He would be like, I, I, I don't pick up the paper, and I look. There was a subway. It was like weird. Like, you remember, like subway paper. So when I look back, when I'm that age, I don't think home movies will be the one story I tell. It will be something more like, I have an ice cream. There's a peppermint. There's a peppermint ice cream. You know, it would be something like that.